The curse of Columbia to the Hogs end that streak Saturday. The man who created the trophy, not the award, is next to weigh in on that.
This is the Hog Central Podcast, sponsored by Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app. Bet with the brand you trust. Bet with Oaklawn Sports. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to the Hog Central Podcast. I'm Steve Sullivan, longtime KTV sports anchor with the host of Morning Mayhem, Little Rock Touchdown Club. Works for KTV on what days? Friday, Saturday, Tuesday. You're like a full-time employee.
Yes, except for the pay. It's all good.
There are things in life you don't want to do, but you have to do.
Yes.
And that's coming up on Saturday for you.
I don't want to do it, Sully. It's
going to Columbia.
It's been one of the most painful things, and we've done it now. This has been a decade. I've gone 5 times. I did it all through the Bielema era. I've done it through Chad Morris. Now I've done it through Sam Pittman. And I tell you, Sully, the way we've lost in Columbia has been brutal.
Yeah.
And then last year, even at home, the way it was 34-0 with like a minute in the second half. It was a brutal beatdown. And they're 8-2 against us since we've joined the league. And we look down at them. We look down at them and think they're not that good. Don't have our legacy, and they just keep beating us.
One of my favorite coaches is Travis Williams. Love to watch him on the sideline. I mean, he got such great enthusiasm and spirit. He's got to be embarrassed with what happened last year.
Yeah, they shut it down. They could have scored 70.
Yeah,
really honest, 70.
yeah.
Really could have. The second half, they should. Remember, Sully, the first 2 plays in the second half were touchdowns for Missouri.
Yeah, they were throwing to backs, and they were going 40 yards. People were uncovered.
It was so bad. Yeah, you're right. Of course, Sam Pittman made the comment, you can't use the old motivational deal, hey, those of you who were here last year, you want revenge, because most of them were not here last year for this team. Some of them, the defensive players. But
you have Landon Jackson and Gregory. You have a lot of guys in that defensive front.
Yeah, and then, of course, then you've got the weather issue, which I guess, to be honest with you, anything that makes things different than normal has to be positive for us. Yeah, snow on the ground maybe and cold temps.
Going into the season, I think both teams were touted for their offenses, but both have kind of leaned on their defense lately. Cook's been injured, and the Missouri defense has played well. The Arkansas defense the last couple of weeks has been really good.
The Brules Award nomination just came out, Sully, and if I'm not mistaken, the defense coordinator was nominated for Missouri.
Yeah.
So, of course, the other Missouri defense coordinator went to LSU.
Yeah, Blake Baker.
Yeah, so they play good football, and they're ready to play us. They like beating us. They like beating us. They know we think that we're better than them. And they just keep beating us and taking off that trophy time after time. And Eli loves twisting the knife.
Let's make it clear, though. You had nothing to do with creating the trophy idea.
People think, Bazzel and the trophy and rivalry. No, I like the way it was between LSU and Arkansas. So
yeah, you're the boot guy.
Yeah, but Jeff Long came to me and said, we're going to make this be another trophy game. Will you build a trophy and make it geography, from a geography standpoint, similar in look? I didn't want to do that, but so I created, what I think is a really unique trophy that looks and heavy and size. But that's all I did. I didn't want to do this. Did not want this to be the game. But so be it. And now, it's I don't know if you call it a rivalry, but they're kicking our rear end.
Well, LSU has dominated the boot rivalry. We expect to dominate this rivalry.
Yes, I think we did. We've only won it twice in 10 years.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me about the offense, we don't need to start like last week. I remember looking at you, and the teams combined, Tech and Arkansas, were 0 for 10 on third down in that first half.
That's as bad as you can get.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was. I don't know if we didn't come ready to play. But you're right, Sully. You start slow against these jokers. And I think he'd love to hang another 40, 50 on us.
The encouraging things to see were Talen Green using his legs. I mean,
listen,
it's
Sully,
been a few weeks since we've seen that burst.
If he doesn't do that, win. I think it's a close game. Remember, that's the only offense we had. A 41-yard touchdown run, which was a long run, and 16-yard. He was the key, I think, in the game.
I don't know if the defense was tired in the second half, but Rashad Dubinion looked good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him, Sully. That's what I remember a couple years ago. I think with him, it was like, wow, that kid's in another gear, running hard, and that was a positive. Quentin Jackson started running better in the second half. It was. They didn't have much going at first half, and thankfully they did the same. And special teams, what a disaster, Sully! 2 fake kicks.
Yeah, that's bad.
And then you had 2 guys running into each other. You fumble the ball. I'm sure that Coach Pitman has had some talks with Scott Fountain.
Yeah, you seldom see a team, execute one fake, but two.
The first one was the field goal, which kind of the first time we held them, and they come back and they get.
Guy
the
ran
punt.
about 40 yards that punt.
On the punt. He did. It's like, oh man.
Yeah. If you're Sam Pittman, if you want to really have a happy post Thanksgiving, you got to win Saturday. I mean, it's week to week, and he's still with fans. He's on shaky ground.
Yeah, I think he's got the bowl now, and so that's something that I think that's important to him. But I'm telling you, Sully, style points. Even if you lose, it's one thing to lose. First of all.
Yeah.
The Oakland Sports line is 3.5. If they lose Sully, it's one thing. But if they lose ugly, that's another whole thing. And listen. This Missouri team, almost beat South Carolina, had them beat.
Yeah.
They could put some points on the board. And so, you definitely don't want to lose a game. And plus, you want it to be at least a competitive game. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, if you're Sam Pittman, that 9-win season in year 2, raised the bar. Then you come back in year 3 and you lose 3 out of your last 4 that year, including to Liberty, and finish 6-6 and then win the bowl game. Then you go 4-8. Then you come back this year and you're 4-2 and you get hopes up and you slide on the back end.
Yeah, tough schedule, one of the toughest schedules in America.
Yeah, but people don't care.
Yeah,
I mean, you were there. You played with these teams. You played with A&M. Right. You played with LSU.
Yeah, you had 7 ranked teams. I don't think anybody in the country at the time we played them.
Yeah.
But that's why, Sully, if you win this game, if they win this game, you got a chance to win 8 games.
Yeah.
You're 8-5.
Yeah.
And listen, he'll be waving the flag. Sam for governor. But if you lose it, then also then you lose a bowl game. You're right back. You're 6-7. So it's important.
It's tough to be in his shoes after that 4-8 season because I think a lot of people after that 4-8 season made a decision that he's not the guy that's going to get us to the next level. So every time they slip, it's not on Coach Petrino. It's not on Coach Williams. It's Coach Pitman.
Sully, I think, and I like Sam, and I know him personally, I think there's something to his style, too, Sully, that's tough when you're not winning and not looking good.
Yeah.
He's so laid back.
Yeah.
So folksy, and which is one of the things people like, but when you're not doing well, you
Yeah.
don't see the fire.
Yeah, he's not one that points fingers or gets upset.
Yeah, you see him argue with the ref a little bit, but in his press conferences and things, you just don't hear the comments or that. And do you have to do that? No, but I'm telling you, when you're not doing well, I think fans want to hear a little bit of that.
Even last week, it was kind of a blah game, and he was so positive in that press conference, and I didn't sense that with fans who were at the game or any of the media in the press box.
Yeah, I think the comment where he said, I'm not worried about my job, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, he's worried about his job.
Yeah, well, Sully, the part of that, though, some fans could look at that and go, we want you to be worried. You're telling me you don't care because you've got so much money and you're in a good place. And then he realized he said it and said, I want to win it for these guys. And he said, I'll fight like hell as long as I'm the head coach here.
Yeah.
After he said, I'm not worried about my job, he gets offended when people criticize him.
Yeah.
Which it's
that's a natural reaction. But think about his situation. This guy was a position coach his entire career.
Yeah.
He wasn't even a coordinator.
Right.
You don't go after position coaches. You seldom. In Arkansas, and then you jump right to head coach, and you have immediate success, 3-7. Then you go 9 wins.
Yeah.
And then, remember, he got off Twitter. I mean, it affects him. And, it's tougher for him to deal with it because he hasn't been a head coach for much in his life.
I think that's fair. And then you start losing some key assistants.
Yeah.
And then recruits and – yeah, listen, I think a lot of people ask me, I think he's right, whether it's this year I think he's not far from, hey, I'm headed to the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he definitely took the program, from where it was, at least got it back to normalcy.
Yeah, it's hard to give that up, though. That's a powerful position, and he sees he's close with these games,
But I'll tell you, Sully, if you're 61 years old, which he's basically around our age, and you're having to deal with paying these 17-year-old kids $1 million, are you kidding me? And leaving the next day, listen, if I'm him, I'm like, okay, I've helped you guys out. I'm going to enjoy my retirement.
And I don't like at this time of the season hear him talk about money, and having enough money.
About with players. Well,
because what are you saying about your team?
I know.
Like your best player, Andrew Armstrong, was probably undervalued coming out of wherever he came out of.
Yeah.
That Division II school.
I think it's only if we only knew the real negotiations of what every player. Listen, these coaches are having to negotiate with how much they're paying. With agents and all that.
Well, he hopes to get his core players back. That's what he said. His 6 players.
Well, he implied that it's about money. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I just it's the way it is. We had a great discussion on the Buzz this morning about it, and it's just the way it's the nature of what we are dealing with, Sully, and it's not going away.
And I heard a great soundbite with Mike Neighbors about revenue sharing. He said anyone who says they know what kind of effect it's going to have on college football or college basketball is just talking because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. No.
And
I don't think anybody knew we would be where we are right now.
And Trey Biddy told me something, that the transfer portal isn't exclusive to Arkansas. Everybody else has the transfer portal.
That's right.
So revenue sharing is not just, it's all Power 4 schools.
Well, of course, then you have the outliers out there, Sully. You got the guy at Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, and then you got over at Signetti over at Indiana. They don't have any money.
Yeah.
They don't have any money. Are you kidding me? And yet, you know what? They're winning football games.
Yeah, and those are the guys you got to model after. You got to forget about the money. You can find the Andrew Armstrongs of the world. You can find football players. Indiana, I mean, he got all those guys from James Madison.
Got winners.
Old Dominion.
You got older winners, Sully, and I think that's almost like basketball. Now instead of getting the young, flashy guy, you get the guy who's been there 5 years and knows what he's doing. He's a good basketball player. So
back to this week. You've been through it as a player. It's a grind. And now they even play 12 games. I mean, it used to be 10, then it was 11. Now it's 12 games in the regular season. Your thoughts about the want-to for both teams going into this game?
Yeah, I think they're sitting at 8-3, and very easily could have been 9-2 against South Carolina. Of course, they could have lost some too. I think they want to get to 10, so I think they're motivated to get to 10, get to a good bowl game. They know they're not in the playoffs, but I think they want to hit that 10 mark. I know he'll do a good job of motivating them. I'm with you, Sully. I'm wondering if we're motivated. What's going to motivate us? Is it motivated us to get to a better bowl?
Yeah.
Is it going to motivate they embarrassed us? Because, when I go on that game, Sully, I've always noticed a body language difference. It just seems like we just don't want to. We don't want as bad as they do, especially in the second half. They come out and they're ready to punch us in the mouth, and we just don't punch back. So, I would think they probably have a little bit of edge in that intangible. Because what are we playing for, Sully? Just playing for a little bit better bowl. Hey, we got the bowl now. And the other thing is pride. These guys have owned you, for most of the last, few years, other than 1 year.
Maybe playing for a raise. You play better in this game.
Maybe you do. And then you wonder how many players. We talked about this morning on Morning Mayhem. Is that how many players are going to opt out of the bowl?
Yeah.
This will be the last. This may be the last game that we see some of these players for the Razorbacks. This is a different era now. So.
Yeah, that's you're probably not going to see a Landon Jackson
playing the bowl game. I would probably say not. Used to be you did, but not anymore. Not with a below average bowl.
Eric
game.
Gregory. I think anybody that has the potential of being drafted may stay out. May stay out of that bowl game.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Or the guy who's still weighing his options.
Yeah, But we, as we said today, isn't it sad that you just I get it, but it's sad that it's not about coming together like. Someone said that, it doesn't matter what the last game is. It would be better to play players for next year than this year.
Yeah.
Might be true if you're a losing record, but if you're Sam Pittman, you want to win that bowl game. I'm going to tell you, if Sam Pittman wants to have a good offseason, he needs to win these next few games. If he wants a bad offseason, Sully, he gets drummed this weekend and loses the bowl game. So he'd rather have a positive offseason.
And the sad thing, you don't know who's going to stay. After Chris Paul, a team captain, leaves and appeared to be happy and all about money, you can't pencil in any of these guys.
No, jeez, I know it's I wonder what Coach Broyles would say. I don't like it, Steve.
Yeah.
Take me back to the 70s when all we had to do was pay a $25 meal ticket.
Yeah, but there's going to be a breaking point at some point.
Yeah. Well, I think that at some point they'll become employees of the university. Just the question is when that happens.
And it'll be the top, 50 schools that want to go all in.
That's right.
Oaklawn Sports is so simple to use, anyone can do it. Probably even an ex-football player.
And you can take it anywhere. Pocket size, sort of like you, Raj.
Small perhaps, but powerful, like this offer.
Sign up now for Oaklawn Sports and get up to $1,000 in bonus bets.
That's like a do-over in case you make a questionable decision.
Too bad they can't do that for haircuts.
I'm calling your mom.
Now with new and easy funding options. Bet with the brand you trust. Bet with Oaklawn Sports.
Light it.
We can take people where most people cannot take them.
The generations coming together.
That place was jumping.
The Triple Option, presented by Wendy's, wherever you get your podcasts.
Sully, it's been an exciting year on the field.
Yeah, it has
You've
been.
had parody. You look at the SEC. Look at last weekend. My gosh, Nobody.
I think the NIL has created
I think
parity.
it has that in the transfer portal. It has. I think it has. And the Georgias don't look quite as dominant. The Texans, they're winning, but not quite as dominant. So, I think this playoff's going to be really intriguing.
Yeah, to see what Oklahoma did to Alabama.
Wow, didn't see that one coming.
Yeah,
Oklahoma's looked terrible.
I don't think Jalen Milroe is Jalen Hurts.
No.
that is he's been a one-trick pony with running the ball, and they've been running on everyone.
Brent Venables is a good defensive coordinator, and of course, found out his wife has cancer again.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for them. That was a big win.
How
for
about
them.
two teams, Oklahoma and Auburn, that have really struggled this year, and they rallied their troops.
Hey,
Give them credit.
Nobody.
How about Auburn? They rushed the field.
I'll raise one for you. Billy Napier.
Yes,
listen,
he came back from the dead.
Napier was done. It was over. They were ready to run him out.
Florida alumni
now
were
they're chanting
jumping
his
on him.
name as he runs out of the stadium. What a turnaround for them.
And he's building his program a little different, and we'll see if all these guys stay, because a lot of his current players like Lagway and everything, the quarterback, are young players that were signed by Florida. And that was the reason they gave for sticking with him, that these young kids are Napier guys.
Yeah. I don't know now, Sully. Does it matter? I'm going to get a check. Does it matter who is the biggest bidder? According to Pitman, said when you have a discrepancy in terms of hundreds of thousands of dollars, the kid's going to go where you get the most money.
Yeah. I just don't think it's a good thing for your coach to be describing, just getting into the weeds on, what you're paying guys and the guys that are leaving. And
Did you hear Dillingham said for Arizona State? Did you hear that?
Yeah, they all need a raise.
He goes, listen, pay these guys. He said, this is what you like, pay them. Wow.
How
about that?
Yeah, you got to back
crazy.
It up next year.
Yeah,
but they've had quite the year over at Arizona State.
9-2. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, and he got those guys on the cheap.
Yeah.
And now
I like those stories.
Now, well, you like the story if they stay.
Well, you know what?
That's it.
Of course, Saban was no dummy. Saban got out. He knew this was coming.
Yeah.
This is a mess.
It's total chaos.
Yeah.
But
the good thing, Sully, the product on the field has been enjoyable. People are still great games, a lot of drama. And for this weekend, you have the same.
And for the most part, there's not outliers in the top 12. It's your big programs. Yeah. It's Ohio State.
If you'd have told me at the beginning of the year of the 12, you'd include SMU, Arizona State, and Indiana, I'd have said no.
Yeah.
So you got 3.
Yeah.
First time SMU's been in the top 10 since I played.
Yeah, that gives the Arkansas the world hope.
Yeah.
That top 12 is reachable.
The problem is that you're in the SEC. Just when we were getting ready to put the crown on
Kiffin.
Ole Miss Kiffin.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it out. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, I was glad to see him lose.
Yeah, it was one of those things to where just when you think.
Yeah, that's right.
And Georgia, people buried Georgia. And look
Yeah.
at Georgia sort of crawled their way back.
Yeah.
Texas A&M this weekend. I tell you, the guy that's out, the guy in Oregon, Dan Lanning, was a World War finalist, doing a solid job. Nobody's talking about that.
And does the SEC championship game actually help the conference?
No,
because it's another loss.
First thing I said, Sully, because I do all these awards for Division II, III, and NAIA.
Yeah.
They don't have a championship game because nobody cares.
Yeah.
They're trying to get to the national championship.
And plus, that's another loss for the conference.
It's another loss, and it's putting your team through, your best team through.
Yeah.
The tough part of it.
The only hope is if you get, say, an A&M with Georgia. And A&M wins, and Georgia's already in.
Somehow you could get Texas and A&M.
Yeah. I mean, that would be.
But it just, you don't need it now. You've already determined the top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Make your choice. Listen, the folks in the smaller schools, Sully, been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, but parity doesn't help you in the playoff with your conference.
I know it's all these tiebreakers. I mean, there's
Kentucky takes down.
Yeah.
Ole Miss. We take down Tennessee. Oklahoma takes down Alabama.
I know. But
Vandy beats Alabama.
Vandy's been a great story.
Yeah.
Hey, how much NIL money they got? Not much.
I don't
Guarantee you they don't.
Yeah, they got that kid from
New Mexico. They went toe-to-toe with Texas.
Yeah.
Go with toe-to-toe with LSU. They don't got any money.
Yeah.
So that's a real coach who's doing that.
Yeah. The military academy's been a great story.
Yeah,
now they've kind of fallen off when they had to play Notre Dame, but what great years they've had.
They've
been on the national scene.
Yeah, so college football, there's a reason, Sully, what's the second most popular sport behind the NFL in America. It's a good product as far as action.
How exciting do you think? I think the top 12 is going to be fascinating when you play it at campuses.
Oh my gosh, so
with just
good.
the atmosphere.
So good.
When you got the potential of a superpower going on the road.
This is what small colleges have been doing, Sully, all these years.
Yeah.
They do that. It's exciting, man. It's especially these massive stadiums.
Yeah.
Can you sell it out in 1 week?
Oh,
2
without
weeks?
a doubt.
You know they can. Thanks, right.
Yeah. Well, you can dream if you're Arkansas. And the great thing about the NIL and with these teams, looking at Arizona State and in Indiana, you can flip it quickly. You can flip it in a year.
You used to not think you could, but they've certainly proved you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think quarterback situation? Is Singleton basically gone? Do you think he hasn't played at all? I thought he would play in that first half, just a series when we were struggling.
If I'm Singleton and I know that Talen's coming back, I'd leave.
Yeah.
If you want to play. If not, then you stay.
Yeah.
If your deal is to start, you need to go to another school.
And he's got some good tape from that. Was it Ole Miss or I think it was Ben to the Ole Miss and part of the Tennessee game.
And this is his third year, so he's set now for 2 years.
Yeah.
So next year will be a third year he would sit. I just think if he wants to play, there's too many places he can play.
And I think he's he's shown me enough skills where he could be a good quarterback somewhere else.
He's a good quarterback. I would be shocked if we keep him.
Yeah, Talen Green, I was a little disappointed. I thought he took a step back throwing the ball last week. It may have been the wind, but he was a little more inconsistent. He wasn't a great day, but
he was off.
Big picture, he's thrown the ball this second half of the season, as well as he's thrown it, in his career.
The question is, we were making today on the show, Sully, can he throw in the snow? Yes.
Yeah.
Because our two ball handlers, Jaquinta Jackson and Talen Green, have both played it in cold, Boise State and Utah. They're used to that cold weather.
Yeah, if you get a lot of snow like they had on Monday Night Football, you're better off throwing the ball because your receivers know where they're going.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember one time on a Patriot documentary, Belichick went to Brady before a snow game in New England. And when they have a snow game in New England, it's serious snow. Yeah. And asked him, how far can you throw the football? And Brady said about 50 yards. He said, all right. And they threw it all game, threw for like 400 yards.
Sully, you going to be there with me?
No.
You're never at the Columbia game.
No.
I don't blame you.
No,
it's a nightmare.
The Fayetteville game has been tough to stomach. I mean, a year ago was just miserable.
It's a nightmare at Columbia. Yeah. First of all, stadium doesn't
I had an excuse. They used to play it on Friday.
I know.
So it's high school football.
Yeah, I used to have to drive on Thanksgiving Day to get there the next day.
Yeah.
It's always been cold, though. It's almost always been cold.
Yeah.
And so, it sure would be. Of course, Drinkwitz, he wants to.
Yeah, there's so many memories. Like KJ Jefferson gets the start, and he was a kind of a nothing going into the game, and that was when he became the guy. I mean, they decided not to recruit a quarterback.
Yeah.
Almost
had a big game.
Almost won that game.
And then you remember we were up 20 or 21.
Yeah.
And
one game we didn't show up in the second half. That was a Bielema game.
Yeah, one game I'll never forget it, Sully. We score on that really crazy little tip thing for either the 2-point conversion or something.
Yes. And then they go to length of field.
In like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
60 seconds. They do 3 plays, field goal to a game over. We're like, are you kidding me? It's like
that was the KJ Jefferson game.
Was that it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, and he played an incredible game.
Line's only 3.5. You think it's going to be that close?
Yeah. If you can predict what's going to happen week to week in the SEC,
yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me at all if they went to Columbia and beat Missouri.
Be big.
Yeah, they need a win in this rivalry. I mean, it's just.
I don't have the confidence, though. I just don't have the confidence. Now, listen, they go to Auburn. They beat Auburn.
Yeah.
They beat Tennessee at home.
I'd feel a little better if Cook wasn't playing the quarterback.
Yeah, Cook is a difference maker.
Yeah, I do like the way our defense has got a little swagger now. They changed their look.
What we did last year going into the last 2 games, we were played well, and all of a sudden we just Auburn and Missouri. So you're right, Sully. If I'm Travis Williams, just like against – after Ole Miss, he came back to Texas and played well. Yeah. Maybe he's got something figured out for this group.
Yeah, he went with that umbrella look, and they played well again. They've changed some personnel.
Don't listen. As Sam Pittman said, don't let them get behind you. Whatever you do, keep them in front of you.
And we didn't see anybody last week. They seldom try to throw the ball deep.
Yeah, they didn't. That's right. It's a simple principle. Don't let anybody run past you.
Yeah.
Keep them in front of you.
All right, you've been up and down with this team. Where are you feeling right now as we're 11 weeks into this thing?
Yeah, I think they're a good, solid, SEC team. They're not bad. They're not great. They're good at times. Obviously, you beat Tennessee, who's a playoff team. You hang in there with LSU to the very end. You hang in there with Texas, but then you have the deal against Ole Miss. So I think it's a good football team, but not a great one. When you have that many mistakes as they made, time after time, penalties, fumbles, you're not a great team. So, but I will say this: Let's see what they made of these last 2 games. They could make this a respectable season, 8-5. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Beginning of the year, if you'd have told me they'd be 8-5, oh man, I'd be it for it. So
Sam Pittman says there's like 6 players who are the foundation of this team that he wants to keep back. Who would you say 6 juniors? He's really Talen Green.
Jackson is a senior, right?
Yeah,
Jackson, so I'd say
I think
one of the
Armstrong.
Armstrong, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. He's got. Is this would be a 7th?
I don't know, but I didn't see him walk on senior days.
He didn't.
So
maybe one of the offensive linemen.
Braun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid from Florida.
Yeah.
He didn't walk either. He did walk, but he could come back.
Yeah.
And defensively, there might be a few players. You know,
have to get the accountant out and see who we can keep.
Yeah.
How much money we got?
Yeah.
How much got to get? 10,000. He gets it.
I don't think he could afford to lose Andrew Armstrong, and I love his attitude.
Oh yeah.
I
like it.
I mean, he kind of shows his feelings. I was watching him closely on Saturday because I had a bet on him, but he was open in the middle of the field, and Talen didn't get him the ball, and I saw him rip his.
I saw that. You pointed that out.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of the only 5 that have gotten 1,000 yards. You know who the other ones are?
Well, there's Anthony Lucas, Jarius Wright, Kobe Hamilton, and one other. It's got to be a current guy, doesn't it?
Now you've got me. Now I just went blank. I was going to say, is it another one Joe Adams?
I don't think so.
It's Lucas, Kobe. Oh no, he's playing Pro Ball right now.
Oh, Talen Burks.
Yeah, Talen Burks. That was it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, we've had some great receivers.
Yeah,
and he deserves to be in the company of them. Wow.
Listen, only 5 guys have gone 1,000 yards in a season. That's pretty remarkable.
And I like honest people.
Yeah.
And the fact it's hard for those guys when they're standing up there to be totally honest with you.
Yeah,
I like when they asked him about the record, and he said, "Did you have any idea?" "Yeah, I knew it down to the yard."
And he said he never played on a winning team.
Yeah,
I love that. So for guys like him, you hope he wins. You know that because he's never experienced any success.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that Talen Green targets him as much as he does.
Well, he's better. He's the only guy that can get open and catch at times.
Yeah. All right. I hope you enjoy your trip to Columbia.
Can we exercise a demon, both personally?
Yeah.
I've had the worst day of my life up there personally years ago, and football-wise.
How about this back-to-back weeks? We had your dad for the last podcast, and now your mom.
How about that? I'm inspired. My folks are here. Yeah, Mama Baz pays attention. She'll find you on Facebook if you're not careful.
So what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
We're gathering with my mom and Jessica's family, my girlfriend, over at my house. So what about you?
Well, we actually had an early Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, it was wild.
What do they call you, Poppy?
They call it Papa.
Papa.
And it's 5, 3, about to be 3, 1, and 3 weeks. He's little Sully. He's Sullivan.
Is that right?
The little guy.
They love Papa.
Well, that's a good time.
Papa.
There's nothing like having grandkids. I kind of regret it now, though, because I treat the grandkids better than I ever treated my kids.
That's the way it works. I hear that's the way it works, yes.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. They keep you young, and, the one thing you learn with grandkids, we warm up when we get up. We get up slowly and everything. Nah. When they get up, there's no.
There you go. That's why you like it. You never stop.
Yeah. Well, it's a chore to keep up with them. A lot of fun though.
Hey, congratulations on being up for the Sportscaster of the Year.
We're up against each other.
We've never done that before. I've never been in a category with you. I cannot beat you.
I want you to win because I've done it like 4 times, and you just
you've won it 4
and
times.
You deserve it. You've been so good to Channel 7. I mean, how many years now is this?
20 altogether. You and I 25 with Bruce.
Yeah, started with Sports Week, and that rolled.
Yeah, 20 plus years, and then 12 years doing every game coverage.
Yeah, so, every game is a grind.
Yeah, it is.
You've been to New Jersey, called the Hogs. What a great deal that was.
It's been fun. It's been fun. It's the worst era in the history of Razorback football.
What are some of your most memorable road trips?
COVID,
you had to sit in the stands, didn't you?
I did at Mississippi State. I did. I remember my shoes blew out down in Gainesville where I was almost barefoot doing that one. And then, the Missouri, there have been some crazy ones. At Mississippi State, my tire blew out. I mean, there's been all kind of. Sometimes there's not a pass for me. I have to try to talk my way in. So it's all been good.
Remember one time you ran out of gas in Fayetteville?
Yes. You remember all those things?
Yeah.
But listen, Sully, I take a lot of pride in it. It's a lot of football I've watched in person. Been in a lot of stadiums, and so it's been good.
And the coaches you've watched, you started with?
Yeah. I started with all 5 Bielema, 2 Chad, and the 5 of Sam.
Yeah, it's been more down than
up.
up.
Let's say it's the worst era in the history of Razorback football.
Well, hopefully we're on the way up. All right. Thank you much, buddy. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hog Central Podcast. New episodes drop Tuesday on YouTube, or listen on the go. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every major podcast platform.